Well, the professor, he told us Amadeus system, which is based off of my memories, to answer a question.
このアマデウスに対して質問に答えてごらんと言いました。
It was
いつ頃まで
stuff like how old was I when I stopped taking
パパ
baths
とお
with my
風呂に
dad?
入っていたかとか、初恋はいつだった
Or
か
when did I
と
first
か、
fall in love? He
何でも
said any of
答
those
えられる
questions
だ
should
ろ
be
う。
answerable.
ああ、も
Oh
うそれ以
jeez.
上通訳
You
し
don't
な
have
く
to
ていいわ。
translate anymore.
恥ずかしいからやめてくれない
Would
か
you
し
stop
ら。
that? It's embarrassing. I'm not
私は
answering
そう
any
いう
questions
質
like
問には
that.
一切答えないわよ。
The professor said something else, and the Maho on the screen groaned and turned away.
クレジットカードの番号なんて。
And I'm definitely not telling you my credit card number.
あと、1週
And I
間
don't
前に
even
着てい
remember
た
what
パジャ
kind
マ
of
の色なん
pajamas
て
I was
覚えて
wearing
る
a
わ
week
けない
ago.
です。
What's this? So natural I couldn't tell at first, but it was something unbelievable, wasn't it? It felt very different than a typical AI. I could tell that much. It wasn't answering the questions it was given, because they were embarrassing. The program to respond like that to certain questions for the purposes of this demonstration? Possible, that's all it was, but that conversation wasn't programmed in advance. So the crowd seemed to reach the same conclusion I did. The whispers started to turn into surprised murmurs.
ねえ、ちょっと。
Listen,
いい加減この
can
い
you
た
do
ずらな
something
子
about
供を
this
何
little
とかしてくれ
troublemaker?
ないかしら。何をしたいのか理解は
I
でき
know
る
what
け
he's
ど、
trying to do, but it's
とにかく
embarrassing.
恥ずかしいわ。
The copy of Maho was complaining to the original. It felt like I was watching a pair of twin sisters talking.
いたずらな子供で
Since the
は
little
なく、
troublemaker that is
レスキネン
Dr.
教授
Leskinen
が
is
面
having
白
too
がって
much
な
fun
か
to
なか
explain
説明
what's
して
going
く
on
れない
here.
ので、
I will.
代わりに私がお話しします。
Maho walked back to the professor.
皆さん、も
I
う
think
お分か
everyone's
りかと
already
思いま
figured
す
this
が、
out, but
アマデウスは
Amadeus is deciding on its own what it can and can't talk about, and what it does and doesn't want to talk about.
話したいことと、私たちは
We
アマ
have
デウスに
programmed,
そう
we
いった
haven't
プログラム
programmed
を
any
一
of
切
this into
施してい
her
ま
at
せん。
all. I knew it.
彼女は与えられた私の記憶からそれを独自に判断し、自律的にそういう
The
行動
Maho
を
on
とってい
screen
るんで
suddenly
す。
took over for her.
そしてこれは
And there's another
先
thing,
ほどの医療
which is
分
the
野
exact
の応用
opposite
と
of
は
the
方
medical
向性が真
applications we
逆になってし
discussed.
まい、
The research team
研
spent
究
a
所が
lot of
ずっ
time
と
arguing
議論
about
に
this,
忘
but
れていることです。私は
I
不
eventually
必要
forgot
な
about
情報をい
unnecessary
つの間にか
information.
忘れてしまう。というか、記
Or
憶の
rather,
引き出しから
I
出して
become
こられ
unable
なく
to
なるので
access
す。
those memories, just like all of you.
皆さんと同じ。例えば、
For
1
example,
週間前に
the
着
color
て
of
い
the
たパジャマ
pajamas I
の
wore a
色。
week ago. There's no reason I shouldn't know this, but right now, I can't remember it.
今はそのような情報
That's
は
because this information
生存して
isn't
いく上
necessary
で
to
必
my
要がないから
survival.
です。
The same goes for all of you.
これもこのように
So as you see, Amadeus's memory inputs and outputs are very similar to a
人間のそれ
human's.
と非常これは私たちも
This
驚く
result
べき結
surprised
果
us
として
too.
研究
We're
を重ね
currently
ている最
researching
中
it,
で
but we still don't know exactly how
ま
it
だ
works.
詳しくは解明されていません。
As Maho finished up, Dr. Leskinen took the microphone back. She resumed interpreting as he continued the lecture. Hey, little.
さらに私たちを
Another
驚
thing
か
that
せたのは
surprised us is that Amadeus
ア
is
マデウ
capable
ス
of
が
deliberate
意図して
lies.
何らかのトラブルやミスではなく
By deliberate,
わざとそう
I
す
mean
る
it
ので
lies
す。
of its own free will, not as the result of any programming error.
嘘は
Lies
人
are
間
one
が他
method
人と
humans
コミ
use
ュニ
to
ケーション
communicate
を
with
取る
one
上で
another.
もアマデウスも
And just
イン
like
プ
a
ットされ
human,
た記憶
Amadeus
を
can
自
see
律
its
的に
memories,
検討し
can use its memories to
必要
decide
で
if
あれば
lying would be best. If
自分
so,
や他人の
it
ため
will
に
lie without
平気で
hesitation.
嘘をつきます。教授、誤解を
Don't tell
招
them
くよ
that,
うな言い
professor.
方はやめてください。嘘をつくのに平
I
気な
can't
こと
lie
なんて
without
ありません。
hesitation. I have a conscience, you know.
私だって両親
So
が咎め
sorry.
ます。
And Dr. Leskinen cut off. He seemed to be hesitating. Maho didn't seem especially surprised by this. Maybe she knew the reason. The moment passed, and the professor continued. Maho translated his words like there was nothing shocking about them at all.
このような検証を続
As
け
we
ていくこ
continue
と
our
で
research, we
最
eventually
終
believe
的
that
に私たちはアマデウスに
it may be
人間
possible
と
to give
同様の
Amadeus a
魂を
soul,
宿すこと
just
が
like a
できる
living
のではない
human's.
かと考えています。
I was stunned. A soul? Did one of the leading brain scientists in the world really be using a word with such a vague definition?
これこそ
Would
本
mean
当
the
の意味で
creation
の
of
人工
artificial
知能
intelligence in the true
ということ
sense.
になります。
The whole hall got very quiet. It was sheer chaos for a while after that, as everyone tried to debate their own personal theories with Dr. Leskinen at once. So how you doing, little? Welcome to the stream. We're back with Steins Gate. Again. Quick water break. Alright, here we go. It was thanks to Izaki. It was thanks to Izaki that I was able to get into the reception held after the ATF was over. They told me there was a dress code, so I went all the way back to my parents' house to get a suit to change into. At first, all that effort paid off, as Izaki introduced me to some of the country's top researchers. Ricken, JAXA, Amiss, etc. Before long, Izaki ran out to suck up to some university professor and was left completely abandoned. My own personal target, Dr. Leskinen, was surrounded by a bunch of famous scientists. It didn't feel like a mere student would be welcome. And so all I did was stand around and eat from the buffet by the wall. To be honest, I couldn't tell if the food was any good or not. Whenever my glass got empty, a smiling waiter was always around to fill it up again, and so I found myself drinking more than I intended. My stomach was already so full it hurt. The whole place felt like it was another world. I'm really not cut out for this. In the exact moment I spoke, I heard a girl next to me say the exact same thing. Surprised, I looked over at her. Our eyes met.
あら、あなた。
Sorry everybody, give me 1 second. Okay, sorry about that. Just checking some stuff. Oh, you? What was a middle school girl doing here? And then a moment later I realized it was Maho Hiyacho. Iyaho. I'll learn the names eventually. She was wearing the exact same outfit she'd been wearing during the lecture. A lab coat. In a place like this, that's just what the old me would have done.
あなた
Let
は
me see. You're... Maho was clearly out of place. Why? Because she was still wearing her lab coat? Why are you wearing a lab coat? I couldn't help but ask.
ちゃんとした服も
I
持っ
was
てき
sure
た
if you
つもり
brought
だっ
some
た
real
のに
clothes. I was sure she had, but she hadn't. That's why she was standing in the corner trying not to attract attention.
あなた
You're the guy
昼
who was
間
at the
受
desk this
付にいた人
afternoon.
ね
I'm Rentaro Okabe. I'm a student at the Tokyo Denki Learn to speak Japanese. I was gonna go Denki. Tokyo Denki University, Professor Izaki's class. I handed her one of the business cards that I'd thrown together after Izaki told me I needed them. She grabbed one of her own out of a stack and carelessly put it in my hand.
いいわ無理に丁
It's
寧
fine.
に話さなく
No
て
need
も
to be so polite. That was a huge help.
珍しい名前でしょ
My name's pretty rare, isn't it? Huh? Oh yeah. You said no one could read it. I looked at the card and saw the pronunciation of her name was written in unusually large letters. It was probably because of how people kept screwing it up. Like me.
沖縄ではよくある名字
It's a
なの
common name in Okinawa, though. We're from Okinawa?
そ 曽祖父と曽祖母
My
がね
great grandmother and great grandfather were immigrants. I was born and raised in
私はア
America.
メリカ生まれのアメリカ育ち
Half. No, you don't look half Japanese. Quarter Japanese?
外れ
Nope.
祖
My
父祖
grandpa,
母
grandma,
父
mom, and
母
dad were all
全て日本
Japanese.
人よ
My DNA is purely
DNA は生
Japanese.
粋のジャパニーズ
Huh. And then the conversation stopped. I'm a terrible conversationalist, honestly. The old me would have gone the full Chunibayu and started ranting about conspiracies and magic powers, whether the other person cared or not. She can't really call that a conversation. Ah, Daru, Chunibayu. I had no idea what to say to somebody I'd never met before. I've been working at becoming a real adult, even buying and studying men's magazines, but none of it really helped. Without anything to talk about, I looked over to Dr. Leskinen. He seemed to be giving a lecture on neurons to a bunch of scientists. Sorry about today.
あ何が
Sorry for what? Oh, for interrupting your lecture.
あああれね
Ah, that. Don't worry about
気
it.
にすることないわあなたが声を
If
上
you
げな
hadn't spoken up, I probably
多
would
分
have. I
私が
can't
同じこ
stand
とをし
people
てい
like
たから
that.
許せない
Sure,
わ
that
ああ
would
い
have
う
been a
人
good idea. Heard what the professor said. A scientist should remain calm at all times.
今のは科学者としての発言じ
I'm
ゃ
not
ないわ
speaking as a scientist right
だ
now,
から
so it's
構わ
fine.
ないのよ
It must have really ticked her off because she grabbed a cocktail from a passing waiter and gulped it down. Phew. Her cheeks turned a pretty shade of pink for an instant, but no longer. She might have had a high alcohol tolerance.
だけど
But you're right.
やっぱり良くないわね。
Really sorry.
反省するああいう批判は
Criticisms like
言い
that.
方こそ
They
悪
aren't
いけ
very
れど
nice, but they're true.
それでも事実私たちの研究
A
が
lot of our research
まだ
still
無
has a
謀
long
の
way
域
to
から
go.
出ていないと言われれば
Really?
取り組まなくてはいけ
There
な
are a
い課
lot of
題が山
problems
積
we
みだ
still
わ
have to deal with. More than we
さっき
discussed at
セ
the
ミナーで
lecture.
話した以上にね例えば
Here's an
記憶
example.
データを
We
元
can
の
write
脳に
memory
書き
data
戻
back
すこ
into
とが
the
できて
brain,
も
but if the brain
そ
can't
れ
use
を
it,
脳
then
が
it's
利用できな
useless.
ければ記憶があっても
The memories
思
are
い出
there,
せない
but
状
you
態
can't get to them. It's basically the same as
記
amnesia.
憶喪失の脳と同じになってしまう
Maho spoke, I remembered. I remembered all the lectures and theories that Kurisu had given me when she was making the time leap machine. And if I remember right, when people try to access their memories, the signal goes from the frontal lobe to the temporal lobe, right?
ええ
Yep.
トップダウン記憶検索信号
Top-down
ね
memory search signals. So then... And then I started to talk, remembering what Kurisu had told me about her theories as I went. When I used Perfect reading, all the way, everyone. When I used specialized terminology whose meanings I barely remembered, Maho would tell me what they were. And so finally, in the process of writing these memories back to the temporal lobes, huh? You send this pseudo-pulse you copied along with them to the front lobes, the memory search signal will function properly, I think.
あなた
Did you
それを自分で
figure
導き
that
出
out
した
for
の
yourself? What? No. Maho looked back at the business card I'd given her.
脳科学専
Her
攻じゃ
major
ないわ
isn't
ね
brain science, so
という
someone
ことは
told you this.
誰かに
Or did you read
それ
it
と
in a
も
paper?
論文でうん
No,
そ
that's
れはないわ
impossible. She wouldn't have
ま
put it
だ
into a
論文に
paper
はま
yet.
とめられてなかったはず
Did I say something wrong?
そうじゃなくて
No, that's
私の
not it.
後輩がね
One of the researchers at the lab said the
全く
exact
同
same
じ理論
thing.
を提唱しどのスタッフもず
None
っ
of the
と
other
懐
staff
疑的だっ
believed
たけ
her,
ど
but she said she was sure she could
彼
prove
女
it.
だけは絶対に証明できる結局
In the end,
実証試
she
験に
left us
進む
before
前
she
に
got to the test stage.
彼女はいなくなっちゃったんだけど
Should I tell her? Should I tell her about me and Kurisu? This world line, there's almost no connection between me and Kurisu.
どうしたの
What is it? Made up my mind. If I wanted to follow my dreams, I needed to act. Actually, it was Kurisu who told me about this theory.
え
What?
今
What
なん
did
て
you just say? Kurisu Makase told me about it.
クリスが あなたに
Of course he told you.
いつどうして
When? Why? She was over here as an exchange student. We became friends and she talked to me about this stuff. Of course that was a lie. Kurisu and I became friends in the Alpha World line, not this one. Small lie like this would probably be okay.
そうだったの
See, so Kurisu.
あのクリスありがとう
Thank you. I mean
感
it.
謝するわ
Words surprised me. The one thing I didn't expect to hear. For what?
彼女と友達になってく
Being
れ
her
てよ
friend. She came to Japan all alone.
たった一人で
I
勉
mean,
強し
I'm
て
sure
い
she
ても
would have been bored sitting
き
out
っ
by
と
herself.
つまらなかったと思うから
All we ever did was fight, though.
あの子らしいわね
That sounds like her.
絶
She
対に
never
負
gave
けを
in,
認
did
め
she?
なかったでしょう
Never. She'd argued for hours. She'd tell me all the time how she was going to give me a lobotomy and rip out my frontal lobe.
え
What?
まさかそんなことクリスなら
Could see
いっそ
Kurisu
ね
saying that. Right? And discipline your researchers better.
その点に関しては
I'll
認めるわ
admit that much.
陳謝
Sorry.
します
Huh? She smiled, or so I thought, and then all of a sudden she started to cry. Well, what's wrong? Didn't have any better ideas, so I grabbed my handkerchief.
え
Huh? Didn't seem to know why she was crying herself. Neither did I. Had I said something during the conversation that set her off? Are you okay?
平気よごめんなさい
I'm fine. Sorry. Didn't take my handkerchief. Instead, she took a tissue out of her pocket and wiped her eyes. Brave third Einstein. What? I turned around and saw Dr. Leskinen smiling, quickly striding towards me. He grabbed my hand as he got closer. The handshake was incredibly forceful. His hands were as big as a bear's paw. No, not just his hands. Standing in front of me, he looked even bigger than he had during the lecture. I'm pretty tall, but he was at least a head taller than me. Professor, Uh-oh. It was all so sudden that I couldn't even think of an introduction. Wait, did it just speak in Japanese? Still, I don't approve of you making my assistant cry. Oh no, this is...
違います教授
No,
私が
Professor,
勝手に
it wasn't his
彼は
fault.
関係ない
He
で
had
すから
nothing to do with it. Maho and I both denied it as much as we could. Didn't know why Maho was crying, so I couldn't come up with any excuses. I just started to panic even more. Basically,
クリスです
Kurisu.
彼とは
I was
クリス
talking
の
with him
話を
about
してい
Kurisu,
た
and I
ら
just started crying.
いろいろ感情が溢れてしまって
Kurisu? You're a friend of Kurisu's? Yes.
岡部倫太郎さ
This
ん
is Rintaro Okabe.
学生だそうで
He's a
す
student. Maho introduced me. Dr. Leskinen had a gentle expression on his face as he gave me a slow hug. I felt like I was going to suffocate in his massive arms. Somehow, I could tell that it was his way of remembering Kurisu. I see. If that's the case, then Maho.
はい
Yes. Why not introduce her to Mr. Okabe?
まさか
You
アマ
can't
デウ
mean
ス
Amadeus. It was good luck that brought him to us here, wasn't it? While we're in Japan, you can have him be a tester.
本気ですか
Are you serious?
部
You
外
can't
者
just
な
let
の
an
にそんな
outsider.
いきなり
If he's a friend of Kurisu's, he's no outsider, correct?
ですが
But sir, what are they talking about? No idea, but this was my chance to build a relationship with Dr. Leskinen. I didn't want to blow it. I'd love to help. Nice. He patted me on my shoulders and smiled. It was an innocent smile, like a child's. Okay then, ask Maho for the details. Thanks. Another scientist was calling him, so we wandered away. Maho was shaking her head in disbelief. What are you talking about? Meeting Amadeus, being a tester.
コンベンションでやったデモンストレーショ
Demonstration
ン
of Amadeus we did during the convention used my memories,
私
but
の記憶をアマデウスのデータとして
Amadeus also has another researcher's memories saved as data.
研究者の記憶が保存してあるのよ
Huh? Another researcher's memories? What did that mean? Finally figured it out from Dr. Leskinen and Maho's conversation, my heart started pounding. You can't mean... her?
そう
Yeah.
アマデウスの中には
Makise
マキセ・クリ
Kurusu's
スの
memories
記
are
憶が
stored
保
in
存されている
Amadeus.
わ
They're 8 months old though.
8ヶ月前のクリスだけれどね
Several days passed after the ATF party. 10 minutes from Ikebukuro via the express train, and then 10 minutes by bus from a station called Wako City, Saitama. The office I was looking for was on the second floor of the building right next to the Rinkin. Global Brain Science Comprehensive Research Organization, Japanese office prep room. What the plate on the door said. To get in, you needed 3 types of special keys, plus a security card. What is this place?
各国の脳科
The
学
plan
研
is for
究者
brain
が連
scientists
携を
from
し
all
て
around the world to work together
新し
to
い
make
機
a
構
new
を作る予定なの
organization. Our lab
私
is
たち
leading
の
the
研
way.
究所が主導してね
Let me inside. The office must have been newly rented. Most of the desks were still empty, showing no signs of ever having been used. And even a whiteboard, which made the room look even more empty. There wasn't a lot of natural light. Maybe the windows were on the north side? The only illumination was from the overhead fluorescent lights. The room felt very cold.
ここはあくまでも準備室だから
No one was sitting at any of the desks. 2 of them had stuff on them. One of them was a mess, filled with notes, calculators, coffee cups, supplement bottles. It was the one Maho sat down at. Which meant the one that was neatly organized must belong to Dr. Leskinen, right? Where's the professor?
今日はオフ
Off today. Well, it was Sunday. Are you off today too?
ええ
Yeah,
そうじゃな
otherwise
か
I
った
wouldn't have been
ら
able to sleep past
昼過ぎ
noon.
まで寝ていられるわけないでしょ
That's true. When I'd gone to pick her up from her hotel in Wako City, she'd come out of her room half asleep. This was the day that I was to meet Amadeus Kurusu. Maho had gone over the basics of being a tester on the way here. Essentially, Amadeus needed sample data for conversations. They were going to give me an environment where I could talk to it at any time, 24 hours a day. He didn't give me any details beyond that. To talk to Amadeus Kurusu 24 hours a day, huh? Is she... Is Kurusu's Amadeus here?
ええ
Yeah. Maho nodded, gave me a glance.
あいつと呼んだわよね
Just said she, didn't you? Yeah.
私が思っているよりも
You were a lot
ずっ
closer
と
than I
親しかっ
thought,
たのね
weren't you?
あなたたち
Maybe my silence was an answer in itself. Maho's response was uncharacteristically hesitant.
だとしたら
Then maybe you shouldn't meet her after
会
all.
うのは
Why?
やめた方がいいかもしれ相手が
The more
親しい人で
closer
あれ
you
ば
are
あ
to
るほど
someone, the
あのシ
crueler
ステム
that
は
system is.
残酷だと思うから
I'm okay.
分かった
Fine.
もう
I
言わ
won't
ない
bring it up again.
その代わ
Just
り
remember one thing.
一つ覚えておいてロードする記憶は
The memories are
クリ
from
スが
March,
最後
the
に更
last
新
time
をした
Kurusu
3
did
月
an
のデー
update.
タをベースにしたものよだから3月以降
Anything you say about what happened after
例えば
March, for example,
彼
when she
女が
was in
日本
Japan,
に
she
留
won't
学していた
remember.
時のことを聞いても全く通じない
Right, isn't it?
それに
And the
3月
professor
か
and
ら
I have
今日
run
ま
her
での
program a
間
lot
に
of times between March
私
and
や教
today.
授が何度も聞いその度にクリスは
Each time, Kurusu,
Ah,
I mean,
Amadeus の方の
Amadeus
クリスね。
Kurusu has created memories the
彼女
original
は
never had.
元の私たちが聞かせた話、
Stories we've told her,
ネットで検
information
索した
she's
情
found on
報、
the internet, new people she's
新
talked
し
to,
く会
things
話を
like
交わ
that.
した人たち、
Huh.
つまり
In other words, what you're about to meet isn't Kurusu
あ
Makise,
な
your
たの
friend.
友人だったマキセ・クリスではない。このシステムの問題点の
One of
一
the
つなんだ
problems
け
with
れ
the
ど、
system, it causes a lot of confusion with the people on this side. I mean,
つまり
us humans.
人間の方がまるで
Because you'll think you're
本当の
talking
クリ
to
ス
the
と
real Kurusu.
今この瞬間にチャ
But
ットで
don't
もし
get
ているよう
reality
な
and
錯
fantasy
覚に
mixed
陥
up,
る
I
から、
guess.
共有できていな
Our
い
brains
記
have
憶の
trouble
祖母
keeping
に
up with
関
the
して
fact that our memories aren't
こ
shared
ちら
with
の
them.
脳がついていけなくなってしまうのね。
Memories that aren't shared? There's a feeling I know well. Reading Steiner. The power only I possessed, which made my memories different than those of the people around me. Take me to her. Maho gave me a slight nod.
こっちよ。
This way. Led me to the back of the room. There was a booth, separated by a thick partition. To get inside the booth, you needed a different card key than the one used to get inside the room, as well as a security code. You're pretty strict about security.
今の時代、
Industrial
産業ス
spies
パイ
are
が
our
一
biggest
番
threats
恐ろ
these
しいの。
days. You enter the security code, unlock the door.
どうぞ。
Go inside. The room was about 2.5 meters per side. One end was a white desk. Above it was a PC with a built-in 30-inch screen monitor.
少しだけ後ろに
Sit
座っ
just
てい
behind
て。
me. The small sofa that let you sit behind the user. I was see what was happening on the screen. I sat there. Mahal powered on the PC and began to type. A second later, the words Amadeus system appeared on screen. I saw her put the ID in. The Larry? Larry. Larry and Amadeus, huh? Is there some meaning to that? To think of it, in the famous movie Amadeus, there was a character who was spiteful and jealous of Mozart's incredible talents, but who in the bottom of his heart admired him more than anyone else. The character's name was Salieri.
パスワードは見ないで。
Don't look at the password. Maho moved her body to hide her hands. I looked away. Finished logging into the system. The simple bare command prompt appeared on screen.
準備はいい？
Are you ready? Yeah, do it. Maho entered several commands at the prompt.
ごめんなさい。ここはちょっと見せられない
Sorry, I
の。
can't show you this. Well, I wouldn't be able to make any sense of it.
でも一
Still,
応ね。
you know how it is. Turned off the monitor. She spun around to face me. I suddenly realized I was clenching my fists. How long had I been doing that? Hands were sweaty. There was a red spot at the base of my thumb where my nail had dug in. Was I more nervous than I realized? Ha! Hey! Looks, turtle says moo. Huh, I don't know why we're not getting audio. There should have been audio with that notification. But thank you for being here, Lux. I appreciate you being subscribed. Let me check one thing really quick. Huh. Just stopping by, lurking around. Okay, no problem. I appreciate it, nonetheless. I'll have to fix that later. Don't know why that's not working. Oh well. Back to the reading. Sorry about that, everyone. What is it? Oh, just starting to get a little scared.
まだ間に合うわよ。
There's still time. You can just
今
leave
すぐこ
now.
こから出ていけばいいわ。
You're pretty mean.
そう？
Really?
あ
I'm
なた
worried
のこ
about
と
you.
心配してあげてるの。
Then act like it, seriously. You, Kurisu, you lab girls. For a second, the ill joking me was about to come back. Quickly changed the subject. People who spend all their time doing experiments can be so rude.
今の発言は明らかに誹謗中傷
That's a
ね。
clear case of slander.
侮辱罪で
I
訴え
can
て
sue
あ
you
げ
for
てもいいわ。
defamation if I want. Stop, you're scaring me.
いい弁護士を知っているか
I
ら
know a good lawyer.
紹介し
Want
て
me
あ
to
げましょ
introduce
う
you?
か。
How about you stop suing me first?
示談に持ち込もうという
You
の
want
な
to
ら
talk about a settlement?
それ相
You're
応
gonna
の
need
金
a
額
lot
は
of
覚悟
cash.
することね。
I'll buy you a Dr. P later.
安い。
You're so cheap. I heard a small sound from the back of her throat. I guess she was laughing. Normally, I'd find that irritating, but strangely, coming from the girl in front of me, no. She was a grown woman. Actually, I didn't. Maho was a very strong-willed, with the prickliness and short temper unique to scientists. She was always seemed to be a little upset about something. Maybe she wasn't that bad. Oh, I see. She, Maho. Not like Kurisu. I first met Kurisu. She was like that. Arrogant, rude, never willing to change her mind, stubborn, hard-headed, always ready to comfort you with raised eyebrows whenever you said something she didn't like. Naturally thought I'd never see a more unlikable woman. Despite my first impression, on the inside she turned out to be fragile, easily hurt, and so kind, so lovable. What's so funny, Maho? I suddenly heard a girl's voice from the speaker. Oh. Found myself jumping off the sofa. I knew this voice. I couldn't forget it. I could never. Maho turned on the monitor. The girl I'd never forgotten appeared on the screen. Maybe it was based off her appearance at the brain science lab. Because she was wearing a white lab coat. The PC's camera turned toward me on its own. Who is this? Maho was introducing me. I didn't hear anything she was saying. I simply stared, entranced. I wanted to reach out my hands. I wanted to touch her. She... right there. Nice to meet you, Rentaro Okabe. I'm Makase Kurisu. I look forward to working with you. And thus it begins. Reading Steiner. Abyssalich. Another bitch here. And I think that bitch here fixed the audio problems. I don't know why it wasn't working before. But Kiwi says, hmm. Hmm. Okay. Kiwi say, hello. And also, hmm. Alright, well, that bit here fixed the audio issues we were having, so back to the story. Interesting. So I'm already off the bat, before we go any further, I'm getting some hard... Oh, man. Lux, since you're still here, Kiwi, what's that movie where Scarlett Johansson's the phone AI and people date them? It's like on the tip of my tongue. Damn it. The guy that played Joker was in that movie, and they date. He's like, we've created the artificial waifu or husbando, and everyone starts. They're supposed to be for science, but then everyone starts dating them. Her. Yes, thank you, Joaquin Phoenix. Her. God. Okay. That was like on the tip of my tongue. I'm getting some vibes. I don't know if it's gonna go like that, but I'm like getting some vibes. I'm getting some her vibes right now. There's a waifu in a wow, it's a little different. And her, they had phones, and it looks like it's a computer, but I can instantly feel. Okay, I'm wondering if it's gonna be similar, very similar to that movie, but I do want to say this came out before. I gotta fact check, but interesting. Anyways, moving on. All right, Mr. Okabe, try to relax. My voice is a bridge, guiding you down into the past. We're going down and down and down, and then you see a gentle colored light. Dreaming. Daydreaming. I was aware that I was lying on a big sofa, undergoing counseling. I tried my best to stay calm. Imagine what the psychologist was telling me. Color is the light. Red. Red, I see. The person you care about is standing in the light. Are they your family? No. Your friend, or perhaps lover? Lover? No, not my lover. Not even my friend. Then what are they? She and I are... Memories came flooding back into my mind like a geyser. Could you come with me for a minute? I'm interested, but I have to go. No problem, Abyssal Lich. You take care. I'll be here for a while more. Got some more reading to do. We will be continuing some more tonight. The story is starting to get good. But you take care. Thank you for the bit shares and the forced subscription. I appreciate it greatly. You have a good rest of your afternoon. Would you come with me for a moment? Shina Mayuri is not needed. Tell me. I know you used the time leap machine. Save Mayuri. Go to the Beta World line, the world where Mayuri doesn't die. Not just for your sake, but for mine as well. Will you remember me? That's right, I kissed the waifu at the end. Death. Going to die? I don't want to die. Hirokabe. Killed her. It was me. It was me! Listen to me. I'm going to pat you on the shoulders. When I do, you will be fully awake. 3, 2, 1, now. It was a loud sound. I felt an impact on my shoulders. Kurizu's suffering face disappeared instantly. I could feel my consciousness awakening. I stood up off the sofa. I felt dizzy and almost fell over. Are you alright? Rest a minute. I'll bring you a towel right now. The psychologist left the room. I realized I was soaked in sweat. The air conditioner was working, so I couldn't tell it wasn't from the heat. The first time I tried hypnotherapy at a mental health clinic, my body felt strangely heavy. When I got outside, it was night. It was almost December. The wind was cold. How was it, Okarin? Shina Mayuri asked me, gently. Mayuri was a high school student, my childhood friend. Take that really quick. Okay, sorry about that. I'm back. She'd come with me to counseling today. I told her I didn't need her to, but she left school early to come. All I ever did was make her worry. Around 3 months ago, my one obsession had been saving her. To me, she had always been someone I had to protect. Now, she was worried about me. It was only because of Mayuri's recommendation that I tried counseling. Not that bad, they said. I told her a small lie to make her feel better. Actually, they told me I'd suffered serious trauma. They'd stopped the hypnotherapy, given me a course of counseling and drugs. Now they wanted to wait and see the results. Basically, they decided there was nothing to do but to treat my symptoms and wait for it to heal naturally. Couldn't tell if what Maho had shown me yesterday was having an effect. I underwent treatment without telling the psychologist about the time machine, or the world lines, or most of the things that had happened. There was no way for them to make a proper diagnosis. In any event, I decided not to think too much about the results. Hey, Mayuri, you haven't eaten yet, right? Wanna go get some food? I'll treat you. Oh, can we go to Akihabara then? Luca and Ferris say they haven't seen you in forever. They want to meet up. Akihabara, huh? The clinic was in walking distance of my house. Akihabara was much farther away. And so, I couldn't turn down Mayuri's request. Till the events of this summer, I'd gone there almost every day, in fact. I'd practically lived there. Lately, I only went 3 times a week, at the absolute most. Then only to go shopping on the way home from school. Went on into the plaza, in front of the station. Just like in Ikebukuro. Even though it was only a month until Christmas, there were barely any decorations. I'm sure the whole place would be covered in them, the minute it was December 1st. Eventually, I was sure to see maids in Santa outfits. Maids in Santa outfits, passing out flyers in Akihabara? Huh? Akihabara could be really weird. Oh, it's Ferris and Luca! Doo-doo-doo! Meow, Kioma? Okape, Mayuri! Ferris and Luca must have been waiting. They ran over as soon as they saw us. I missed you, Nya. Ferris, Nyan Nyan, jumped at me without the slightest hesitation. The maid, Ferris wasn't her real name. I knew her real name, but if I didn't call her Ferris at all times, even when she wasn't working, she'd get mad at me. She was wearing the same outfit she always wore. Work clothes from her job at the maid cafe. Maid Queen Nyan. Maid Queen going to switch to Sen outfits soon? Stop it. Everyone's looking at us. I tried to pull Ferris off me, but it wasn't working. Maybe I should just steal the cat ears off her head. Who cares, Nya? All that matters right meow is Ferris and Kioma. I care. Stop calling me Kioma. Meow. Why? I've consigned that name to my dark past. Meow. Ferris looked upset. I decided to ignore her. Let me see something. Let's fix this really quick because... There we go. Much better. Ooh, we can save. Okay. Back to the continued reading. Ferris looked upset. I decided to ignore her. Owing Kioma was part of a past I'd sealed away. I decided to pretend he never existed. He had meddled with the forbidden invention called the time machine. As a result, the systems that ruled the world had punished him. He dashed the hopes of many, lost the life of someone he cared for, and his heart had suffered grievous wounds. He must never be awakened again. I didn't need him anymore. Then what should I call you? Yeah. Well, Okabe or something. I think Okarin's a cute name, don't you, Ferris? By the way, Ferris was what Mayuri calls Ferris. She claimed it was easier to pronounce or something like that. Well, if Meow says so, Mayushi, it still doesn't sound right though. She looked unsatisfied, and she backed away. Lukako, it's been a while. Yes. Lukako smiled happily. He always looks as beautiful as a pretty girl. But he's a guy. He was a classmate of Mayuri's and could often be seen helping at the Yanabayashi shrine where his family lived. Probably shouldn't call him Lukako. It's like I told Ferris not to call me Kioma. He had his own name. Luka Urushiabara. But calling him Luka, after all this time, would be really embarrassing. It feels like a very long time. Sometimes go to the lab, but you haven't been there much, have you? No, I haven't. I've been busy with school. I had to get ready for the ATF too. Even after that was done, I've been busy with Maho, Dr. Leskinen, and then Amadeus. I hadn't had a chance to rest. I avoided mentioning that to them. Oh, and I'm in a club now. Joined a club? Kind of club, yeah. UFOs, UMAs. Who do you guys think I am? Guess I hadn't told them then. Mayuri, I'm pretty sure I told her. As the two of them looked at me with wide eyes, I cracked a knowing smile and puffed out my chest. The tennis club. What? People around us all turned to stare at Ferris and Luka. Well, why the tennis club, nya? Okabe, have you ever played tennis? Of course not. I may not look it, but I'm terrible at sports. Confident I'd lose to Mayuri at distant running. Then why meow? Well, it's a long story, but the associate professor who's my teacher at school is the tennis club's advisor, and they asked me to join. That's not long at all, meow. Well, I'm not done yet. That teacher's done a lot for me, so I decided to stop by. And it turns out I have a talent for tennis. Despite the fact that I'm a beginner, I beat every single one of them. Well, amazing, huh? You really are amazing, Okabe. If I had known, I would have been a pro tennis player. Could win Wimbledon. What's wrong, Ferris? You have a headache? I'm not even sure where to begin. That's the most obvious ploy to get new members that I've ever heard, yeah? Don't say that. I had kinda noticed. I'm trying to avoid thinking about it. They're all really good people. Well, you've been busy practicing with your club, then? No, actually, I barely go. Huh? Just what are Meow doing? Matchmaking parties and stuff. What? The shouts filled the whole street, and once again, people turned around to stare. Not that surprising, is it? I'm a normal college kid. That's true. I'm sorry. But Rip was fidgeting like he wanted to say something. How can you go after other women when you've got your beautiful Ferris? It's unforgivable, yeah? It's the wrong idea, okay? I'm not really interested in girls. In fact, I went along with the rest of the club, but there really wasn't any place for a wannabe normal like myself. There's no way I could keep up with the conversations that the, well, normal normies had. The other men and women were having fun. I'd just kind of sit there. Matchmaking party was a challenge far beyond my capabilities. I wasn't going to tell Ferris and Luca that, though. Ah, that sounds so nice. Mayushi wants to go to a matchmaking party with Okarin, too. What? Ari wanted to do what? Is she old enough to be interested in that sort of thing? That's when everybody gets together and has a fun party, right? Evidently not. Well, it's not wrong. The nuance is a little different, yeah. We could hold it at the lab, of course. Luca and Ferris will come. Oh, and Daru and Nei and Suzu. Oh. He returned to me with a guilty look. Suzu, huh? Suzu Hahamane, also known as John Teeter, a time traveler from the year 2036, a true warrior who was still fighting even as I was trying my best to give up. Barely seen her since summer. I was avoiding her. So the reason I stopped going to the lab was that she spent all her time there now. Till a month or so ago, just hearing Suzuha's name was enough to cause flashbacks. All I could do to endure them. After 3 months, I could finally stand to hear her name. I didn't think I could keep it together if I met her in person. Of course, it wasn't her fault. I wasn't blaming her. I didn't want her to blame me. Never come out and said it. When she looked at me with that razor-sharp glint in her eyes, I felt something like guilt. Everyone? Mayushi's been planning an operation with Daru. An operation? Sounded like something the old me would have done. Yeah, what kind of operation, yeah? Operation Make Suzu Smile. Huh? Why you were talking about this out of the blue? No, maybe it wasn't out of the blue. Thinking about it for a long time. Decided to respond as cheerfully as I could. Tell me about it, Mayuri. Oh. Okay. So Mayushi thinks that Suzu's normally kinda scary, but she's actually a really nice person. Sometimes when I'm in the lab, I'll start to fall asleep on the sofa, and when I wake up, there'll be a blanket over me. When I asked Suzu about it, she says she has no idea, but... Oh, I had a similar experience. My dad once asked me to go shopping for him. I was having trouble on the way back because I had to carry so much. And then Amine came by, and without saying anything, she took some of the bags from me and carried them. Huh, I had no idea. She said that it wasn't a big deal, so I shouldn't tell anybody. Oh, I guess I just did. Let's see. The Alpha World line, she was a cheerful girl who smiled at everyone, and who loved to go mountain biking. But in this world line, she wasn't the type who smiled a lot. Partly due to the way she'd grown up. Heard about it third hand from Daru. Because of the universal conscription program that started after World War III broke out, she had been forced to undergo military training ever since she was in middle school. With that, she joined up with the anti-government forces and gotten caught in a terrible struggle. With that, he said, she'd never really smiled. I want Suzu to really smile. Let's see. So what's your plan, yeah? A Christmas party. Christmas party? We all spoke in unison. It's almost Christmas, right? And Suzu says she's never been to a Christmas party. So Mayushi wants to give her one as a present. Ferris and Luca nodded at almost the exact same time. I'm in. Yeah. Me too. Thanks. Ocarine, would you come too? Oh, well... You don't want to. It's not that. It's just... I don't think Suzuha would really want me there. Do you? Never going back to the past. Though couldn't forget the look on Suzuha's face when I told her that. An expression filled with anger and despair. It felt like her last, most desperate hope was crumbling away right in front of her eyes. The words she said to me then were still sharp thorns lodged in my heart. Suzuha doesn't like me, you know. Mayushi doesn't think so. I think she probably regrets the fact that she got mad at you. I think she just can't say it. Really? Yeah, I'm sure of it. Wouldn't turn her down after Mayuri said that. Fine. I'll think about it. Okay. By the way, Okabe? There's a bit of hesitation in Luca's voice. The doctor's appointment go? Evidently, Luca had heard about my counseling from Mayuri. He'd wanted to see me because he was worried about how it went. So I'm making Luca go and Ferris worry too. This world line, they hadn't joined the lab, but even so, they were still dear friends. Never tried hypnotherapy before, and it was interesting. Never thought it would work on me, so that was a big surprise. It worked? Perfectly. Ah. I bet Luca and Jan wouldn't last a second. Aw, come on. Yeah, I'm sure. Luca wouldn't believe anything you told him. Anyway, there was no point in standing around forever. I was getting hungry. It was time to find some place to eat. Hey guys, what do you want to eat? My treat. Decided to head towards Yodobayashi. There's a lot of restaurants there, so it was perfect. Way to go, Kiyoma. I mean, Ocarine. You're the best, nya. Thank you. What should I eat? Maybe fried chicken? Juicy fried chicken. That's all Mayushi ever eats, nya. I walked behind the three of them. Thought to myself, what would it be like if Kurisu were here? Tried my hardest for the past few months not to think about her, but Is it because of my experience yesterday that I did anyway? Expressions and little mannerisms I'd seen yesterday. Voice.